AG, at your university? What can you do to connect with other folk who have like minds? And if you can do that, I think that the next time something like this comes around, there's a more of a unified, concerted effort to kind of do something about it. And incidentally, I also say, Brother Kabbalah over here, I don't know if you know the Free Congo movement, but this brother right here is clearly an example of what one guy can do. And I think Joe was talking about how, you know, these movements always start, and we always see the same people. See the sister up there at the top. I don't know how she finds out about these things. But we always see the same people at these events. But I guess the challenge for each of us is how we can bring another person, you know, just one other, and how can we ourselves be ambassadors for what we have going on. So with that being said, sister.
Well, I want to go off what you just immediately finished saying about how we can bring other people. I found that to be something that I struggle with, because I wouldn't necessarily say I'm an activist in that respect, but I'm very, sorry, my name is Jael Mosley. I go to UNCG. Sorry about that. But I feel like all the time it's the same people who are trying to stand up and do something to change stuff. And it's like, okay, like you only have, and I was just telling her, I wish it was more than 24 hours in a day and 7 days in a week, because that's all you have. And then recently someone told me how like I think it was more than like 70% of people are okay with just being average and not having to do anything else in their lives. So I'm interested to know too, as a part of this discussion, what other people are saying helps to get other people involved who are just okay with just being okay. Because I mean that's not fine. That's not alright. Like I was really I was upset to see that they already gave me a warning before I came here. But I was upset because going to UNCG, I've only heard about the Greensboro massacre one time, and it was a brief, okay, yeah, this happened at UNCG, it was a horrible event. I've only heard one professor talk about it, haven't seen anything about it around the school. And to me, also, I feel like that even if, and this is how I feel about my school, I feel like if we started to try and bring stuff that's going on in Greensboro, to the injustices that happen in Greensboro, to people's attention, I feel like they really wouldn't care, because it's not their friends, and it's not their brothers, and it's not their sisters, and as long as it doesn't hurt them, then it doesn't matter. And that's how personally, and really that's what I've seen. I mean, if every time you go somewhere around campus and all you see is a black person getting pulled over, like, I mean, you know that you don't see white people getting pulled over, but I mean, it doesn't matter obviously to anybody, so it just continues to happen. I mean, it's a lot of other stuff that I see going on and stuff like that, but I just feel like the majority of the campus doesn't really care to change what happens with the minority on the campus. So.
Anybody? Motivation. How do you motivate young people to break that apathy?
And the football is divided into 3 parts. This is 10% of it, this is 10% of it, and the middle part is 80. No matter what you do, no matter what you believe, you will always have 10% of people with you. We had a room of 100 people, and we decided, and I said, you know what, all I want to do is do cartwheels all day long. I can guarantee I can find 10% of those people in that room that want to do what I want to do, however I want to do it. That's the way you have to think, because your question is an organizing question. Your question is a question of, how do I get everyone else seeing what I see and going the way that I'm going? And to me, that's where organizing starts. But this is what helped me. Understanding that only 10%. No, I don't have to give any extra reason. I don't have to show a video. I don't have to give a handout. I don't have to do anything. All I have to do is just say something, and 10% of the people are automatically going to be with me. Also, I can say anything, and I can guarantee that 10% of the people are always going to be against me. No matter what I do or say, I can give them money, I can go to their house, I can cook dinner for them, and they will still say, you're a black boy and I don't trust you. 10%. will always be against what you think. So the battle is over the 80 that's in the middle. So your question is, how do we continue to get the 80? Well, you got to get a strong 10%. You got to build a strong base. That's why I said I don't regret having only a few people in here on Friday night. I don't regret that only 4 people started a whole sit-in. I don't regret because it takes this part. But this part has to be sure. This part has to be grounded. So you coming here tonight is a part of you getting grounded. You said you didn't know too much about it. Someone told you how to be here. Guess what? You were part of the team. Someone just had to tell you something and you came. We have to find more people like this. This is our job. Get this strong 10% of your campus, the strong 10% of your classroom. Get them strong and founded because they're going to be with you. Then we start working with this aid. And here's the next diagram. Reverend Nelson Johnson, these are the first 2 things he taught me when it comes down to organizing. He built a train track for me. And all these are little cars. Okay? I'm horrible with drawing. Okay? But all these are cars. Here's the thing. Because this car represents this first 10%, it's going to go my way. All these cars are connected. So it's our job to understand and build these connections for people. Okay, so you want good grades. Why? Well, that's connected to something else. And that's connected to something else. Our job, I heard someone say it earlier, is to constantly build these connections for people and build these understandings for people. Because here, if I get this 10% person, I know, so let's say for instance this. If I can get the history club involved heavily, I could probably get the political science society. If I get the political science society involved, then I could probably get the sociology department involved. If I get the sociology, see how every train is connected? Because we are who we are because of our connection. We are connected to one another. Let's use that as a strong suit as it relates to organizing. Because that's exactly, the sister's question is so exact, so on to what organizing really is. And I think that helped me. So I'm not discouraged when I send out a Facebook message and 180 people say they're going to be at the march and only 10 people show up. I'm not discouraged because I'm operating under this principle. Y'all understand that?
Yeah.
And see, here's the thing. Just like Professor was telling you, if you buy into a culture that is all about discouraging you, if you buy into a culture that always tells you, no matter what you do, we're not going to put it in the register. You're not going to make the A&T register. You're not going to make the Guilfordian. If you buy into that thinking, you're buying into this 90-10 principle. And I can't explain to us this. It took me 3 months to get this. If you all could get this in 3 days, it would be so powerful. Because then your efforts, no matter what you're doing, you can understand. And guess what? The alternative operates under this same principle. They understand it. They get it. They got it. And their train is pulling this way.
Right.
Our train is pulling this way. And so they understand connections. They understand how to do it. So guess what they do? They build the connections. So what do? They have a rap show. Everybody comes to it. What do they do in the rap show? They feed garbage.
Yep.
This whole 90-10 principle. Get yours, get mine. Because guess what? There's a culture that creates a mindset that you got to get yours before someone else gets it. And so then you apply that to how you practice your school studies. You apply that to, and so this train is pulling people that way because it's based off of connection. It's based all off connections. You all have connections. You do. I know you feel like you only got 3 friends, but you have connections. You have 3 friends who have 3 more friends, who have 3 other friends, who have 3 more friends. And everyone walk around saying, I'm not connected. I don't know nobody. Yes, you do. Last time I checked some of y'all's Facebooks, you got more than 1,000 friends. You got connections. So understand that you're on a train and you just keep working at it. You just keep working at it. You know, and I want Wesley to chime because I feel the spirit. But understand this, you guys. When the freshmen started, the 4 started, and I know we probably had this thrown in our heads so many times. When the 4 started, the 4 turned into 8, 100. But you all know what? How long did that go on? It started in February, but the success was not even rendered until the summer. What happened? Those college students kept sitting in, and guess what the train on the other side was thinking? Well, as soon as the college students go home for the summer, we're good. But what happened? The college students used their connections and connected to Dudley High school students. And those high school students were connected to the community. So even when you leave, your connections are still standing. And Dudley High School won that battle at Woolworth. Not necessarily A&T started it, but Dudley finished it because of what? Our connections. So understand, you are connected, sister. You got connections. So just keep on working and make sure you get your 10. This 80, trust me, it's on a train track. We're connected to one another. It's going to start coming our way. I just wanted to say that. I don't want to be too long-winded, but I just really wanted to share.
Joe, start working this football analogy. I just keep seeing this thing, this intercollegiate grassroots organizing network, because a lot of these conferences we deal with what? And we battle over what people are doing, like this is wrong and because of such and such. We are messed up because of such and such. But we never really delve into the how and the why of the situation. And I think what you were talking about with your passions, like when you go to these different events, a lot of times I hear people speaking from their passion and it demeans somebody else's passion, or it says this part of you is wrong and this is the part that you need to change. And coming up in the culture of beloved community and just coming up at the center, I can tell you, like, I never really felt demeaned at the center. I never really felt less than. I know I came into the office with some holy jeans. I know I came in with a thermal. I know my hair was messy sometimes. But they never really calculated me on what. They always just helped me develop my how and why, and my what began to change. So when I started getting around here and started hearing them delve on this board, I was like, you don't get this too often. A lot of times in the panels that I participated in, because it's very alluring and it's sort of an illusion. You think that you're doing the work talking about what these problems are, or what's wrong with our community. But when we start talking about how and why, we become much more natural. We become much more human beings. And that's the only way it's going to work. And I think that, Kambali, you travel this nation through all these different universities. And the way that I see this whole grassroots organizing network is the same type of thing. Going down to this board and talking about this, because this is healthy. This is not unhealthy. So when it comes to a college campus where there's a lot of unhealthy things, I started off in business marketing and I didn't feel healthy. I'm not saying anything about business majors because there's nothing wrong with it. It's not the what. Sometimes it's the how and why that it's taught. So when I was there, I didn't feel as healthy. So I'm just really looking at this vision and seeing 10 people in this room, or seeing that 10%. And everybody knows me. I had a lot of roommates. I leaned on Buck a lot. But a lot of my roommate troubles. You know what I mean? I'm like, fuck, man, they don't understand me, man. Because I used to be at the house of Orange saying, go to the store and go get this. And he coming home. I'm like, Orange, let's do this together, man. I'm going to wait for you to come home. Let's go out here together. I never wanted to do anything by myself. I always wanted to be on the ones and twos with somebody, because there's something about that energy that's created, that people believe in something. And I heard the sister's passion talking about, I tried, and they didn't listen. I'm going to keep trying, but I don't want to give up. I heard my sister say, I tried in my own family, and it don't work out. Yeah. And I'm like, man, if we can just start getting this culture of caring about each other, lifting up who we are, and just trying to shine for other people, not for anything else. But I really believe in us doing this whole network thing, and that's the one thing I really do believe in. Okay, I want to do it.
I'm not sure if my point is relevant anymore.
No, it is.
Well, and talking about the connections and talking about courage and passion and all these other things, but I tend to get really discouraged if I work at something for a really long time and I don't see the results that I want. And I think what I can bring into it as a theater major in marketing theater productions, it's going to take 8 mentions of the show before someone's actually going to buy a ticket or even think about buying a ticket. And that's entertainment. That's not necessarily asking for social change or something that's going to maybe make somebody a little uncomfortable. So, and I guess persistence is what I'm thinking about. In addition to all of these things, is to not get caught up in, well, I don't know what else I can do, or I've been doing it so long, but persistence is what's going to get results. Like if you just keep talking about it as often as you can and as much as you can, you're going to get someone to buy a ticket, and you're going to get someone to show up.
I think we're lucky in that Brother and Mrs. Johnson are here. And Brother Johnson, I think Nelson Johnson from the Beloved Community Center, What is it, brother? You got 40 years plus being persistent, having the courage to build community, and having the passion. How? For the young people here, how do they sustain themselves for that amount of time?
I've just left the Beloved Community Center with about 20 people, and there was a young lady there from Detroit. As a matter of fact, there were about 9 people who came from Detroit to be a part of this. And she was 18, and we were in a discussion, and the discussion moved around the understanding of what she had been going through, and she started to weep, and she changed the direction of that whole meeting. It was out of the depths of her own compassion that she was pulled that meeting. And so I want to stand with the notion that at our core there is a substance, and if you can touch that, that's what I think compassion is talking about. And there is an energy source right there. It comes right up out of you, and it gives you the capacity to persevere, to hang in there, because it ties itself to purpose. And all of creation is anchored by purpose.